What is up, hooligans? Happy freedom. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Make sure you hit that like button. Get us on the front page. More likes, more hooligans, and all that. Well, we're waiting on KJP. I don't know where she's at. She's lost. She's 10 minutes late. Come on, man. Well, other than waiting for KJP, we have a video titled "Activist Meltdown After Liberal City Makes Drugs Illegal Again." People in Seattle are pissed off. They can't be smoking crack out on the sidewalk anymore, I guess. I don't know when it goes into effect. I don't think it's in effect yet. I think it's coming up. So all the drug addicts are getting all mad. We're not supposed to call them drug addicts anymore. I can't remember what they are. They're like people expressing drug addiction symptoms or something like that, but I'll just call them drug addicts for sake of the show. Then we have a video titled "Watch Donald Trump Get Swarmed as He Hands Out Pizza at Iowa Pub." Apparently this happened yesterday. He stopped at a pub and he was handing out pizzas and people were going wild, as you can imagine. There's people saying they'll never forget it. There's some woman on the video who's like, "I will never forget this." Like, no duh. No duh. You will never forget President Trump, the Orange Eagle, handing you a whole pizza. Never forget that. And then we'll be wrapping things up with a video titled "Trump's Not in Office, but He's Still the President." Some neat image I came across on Twitter. It's kind of a slow news day. A lot of it is about the border and stuff, but we already know about the border. And I couldn't get a video that was less than 13 minutes or something like that. And I want to sit here and watch a 13-minute video about the border that we already know is a tragic story. What's up, Hair Juicer? Happy freedom. What's up, everyone over on Jeff Mack Live? Appreciate you guys all being here. What's up, everyone over on Rumble? What's up, Snooks? What's up, Matthew? What's up, Lifelike? What's up, Dawn? What's up, Fleece Speech? What's up, Jeffro? What's up, Pumpkin? What's up, Ghostly? Klaus Daniels, you want to say hi? Want to say hi to all the hooligans? Come here. They think I ate you. Yeah, they think I ate you. You got to say hi. Say hello. You gonna say hi? Right in the mic. Why you got that crazy look in your face? He's patrolling right now. He's making sure there's no communism infringing on the show here. Disturbing him on his patrol. Yeah, he's practically a Green Beret at this point, but that's all right. That's all right. We need top flight security. I got it right here, walking around on all fours. What's up, RK? What's up, Simply Witchy? Happy freedom, you hooligans. What's up, everyone over on Kick? What's up, Tom Tom? What's up, DeRosa? White Supreme pizzas. I didn't even think of that. Trump was handing out those White Supreme pizzas. Oh, man, I bet CNN is pissed. I bet they're pissed. Probably can't keep a man pawn in today. They're probably feeling real tight. Yep, handing out those White Supreme pizzas. I love that. What's up, everyone on Twitch? Something about the new service I'm using is screwing up the title on Twitch. So I have to keep going back and manually readjusting it. And I think it's causing people to not show up to the live. We used to get like 15 people by the time I showed up. Now we can't get more than 2. I don't know what the deal is with that. What's up, everyone over on GoofTube? I can grab this link that you guys are missing. You need this in your life. Ka-chow. What's up, Sly Dog? What's up, Days N? What's up, Toy Mafia? What's up, Robert? What's up, Gregory? What's up, Norman? What's up, B? What's up, Proud Patriot Girly? Happy freedom, you hooligans. I appreciate you guys being here. What's up, WMM? I seen you called me, but I was setting up the live. Are you at work? If you're not at work, might be going for a walk today. If you're down for that. That can't be bigger than Mo. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Klaus Daniels. He's getting up to 20 pounds. He's bigger than Mo. He's about ready to kick the bucket. He's like 12 years old. Having Maggie on Crazy Tube today. Sorry to hear that, but I appreciate you being here. What's up, MH? All right, hooligans. So, well, first, what's up, Annette? Appreciate you joining the live. So we're going to try something a little different, especially because we're waiting on KJP. Don't think I'm depriving you of your favorite Rugrat. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance now. Okay? I've had a lot of hooligans ask me about that. Why do we do it at the end? Traditionally, when you do the Pledge of Allegiance, you know, back when we used to do it in school, because they don't do it in school anymore unless you live in a conservative area like I do. But generally, you start with the Pledge of Allegiance. You don't wrap it up with the Pledge of Allegiance. The only reason I do that is because not everyone's here yet. But a lot of people keep asking me, why is it that way? So I was thinking maybe we should start with the Pledge of Allegiance. That'll give people a reason to show up early. And that way nobody's missing out when we have lives where we have to carry on without YouTube. All those viewers on YouTube, they don't get to do the pledge with us when we have spicy content to cover. And although I hate the YouTube platform, not the viewers that watch, it's not fair to those viewers. It's not fair to those hooligans out there. So we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance right now. And we're going to try and not act like we're ending the show, because I can already feel it inside of me that that's the finish line there is when we do the Pledge of Allegiance. So we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And whoever misses out, you point your finger and you tell them, better be on time tomorrow. Okay, you don't want to miss the pledge. I got to mute this KJP deal. I don't want her speaking all over my pledge. Jeez, nobody wants that. All right, hooligans, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes. Yes. All right, so now we're at this crossroads that I was worried about. KJP still not on stage. We might have to just start with a video. Pamela, school days used to start with it. Yep. And I want to try and continue on to start with the Pledge of Allegiance and not wrap up on the Pledge of Allegiance, because I think it will just be better. I just think that's the way to go, the way to do things. Remember, don't be afraid to point and laugh at people who didn't show up on time. Let them know they missed the pledge. It's their fault, and they better be on time tomorrow. Gotta call them out. Gotta call them out. You know, every once in a while, you need a little bullying. You need a little bit. I know everybody's gonna be mad. YouTube's gonna give me a strike, but bullying will help you, because bullies will tell you things about yourself that nobody else is willing to tell you. And sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and ask yourself, is that true? Is that true? Am I really the things they call me? And if so, got something to work on. What's up, Cat's Eye? Happy Freedom. What's up, Ted? Welcome to the live. Well, we're not going to wait too long for KJP. We'll give her a couple minutes. Then we'll move on to this story of she ain't showing up. It's titled Activist Meltdown After Liberal City Makes Drugs Illegal Again. Maybe we'll have protesters in the street. I mean, why not? Why not? They stand up for pedophiles. Might as well stand up for drug addicts too, right? Robert, wrap up with the Team America theme. I wish I could play the whole thing without catching a copyright. Actually, if I could get away with without copyright, I'd probably play Rich Men North of Richmond as our intro music. But not while YouTube's watching. Sly Dog, I'm watching on YouTube and Rumble. Does that make me bi? Only if a protester asks you. It'll save you a headache. Just tell them you're bi. They're going to be like, oh, you are? You like boys and girls in the 32 flavors? You're going to be like, no, I just watch on Rumble and YouTube. And then just walk away. Walk away. Because I haven't comprehended what Rumble is yet. That's why we don't have trolls over there quite yet. That's how you got to do it. I'm telling you, it's good advice. Just take my fatherly advice. What's up, Donna Sparks? Happy Freedom. Welcome to the live. I'm like screaming in my living room. I'm just amped up today. Just amped up. Oh, look. Washington's favorite alcoholic is about to stumble on stage. Just in time. Peter's there. Peter has entered the room. And that's what I told her. Big smile on her face. All right, hooligans, it's almost that time. Make sure you hit that like button. Share this live out. Let's hear the lies from the podium. Who is that woman? Why is she talking to Peter? She better watch herself. Send some hooligan security over there. We must protect Peter. Protect the Peter. I'm off my rocker today, okay? Don't you judge me. Klaus Daniels over here tearing stuff up. It's supposed to be KJP and Jake Sullivan. The guy who tries to hide being bald for some insecure reason. Hopefully she don't bring Captain Hot Dog Fingers out here, because I can't stand that guy. Kirby face. Drives me nuts. Cat's Eye, he gets her so upset. I know, she won't even call on him. And I can't tell if she gets more upset with Peter or Jackie.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you can see, we have the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, joining us today to talk about, give a little bit of a preview and talk about the president's visit with President.
Well, she looks festive.
He's in town, and he'll take some of your foreign policy questions as well. With that, Jake, podium is yours.
Thanks, Corinne, and thanks for letting me come back here just a few days after I was last before you at this podium. Come on, President Biden returned from New York last night, where he held a series of engagements and meetings at the UN General Assembly. He launched important initiatives, he engaged with heads of state from around the world, and he laid out a substantive agenda for effective American leadership at a pivotal moment in the world. In his remarks to the General Assembly, President Biden highlighted all that is at stake as we continue to rally the world to support Ukraine, including the fate of core principles of the United Nations Charter: sovereignty, territorial integrity, and human rights, which are the pillars of peaceful relations among nations. As you all know, President Biden underscored that it's not just the future of the people of Ukraine that hangs in the balance as they bravely fight every day to defend their rights.
Why'd he read it like a username? President Biden underscore. Is that one of his emails? Robert L. Peters, pimping from Rhode Island?
In the 21st century, a dictator cannot be allowed to conquer or carve up his neighbor's territory by force and threaten the fundamental values of freedom and independence that matter to every American. If we allow that here, it will happen elsewhere in ways that will undermine the fundamental security, not to mention the values that the American people hold so dear.
You mean like what Mexico's doing to us?
At the UN earlier this week. Today, President Biden is hosting President Zelensky of Ukraine here at the White House, where he will emphasize the continued need for the American people to step up and support Ukraine as they battle on the front lines of the free world. Today's meeting will be the 6th in-person meeting between President Biden and President Zelensky, and it's President Zelensky's 3rd visit to the White House during the Biden administration. Of course, they have talked many times over the course of the past year and a half by phone, on video, and our teams are in constant daily communication. This meeting comes at a significant moment as Ukrainian forces continue to make progress in their counteroffensive, and just after Russia launched yet another brutal wave of airstrikes against five cities in Ukraine that hit critical civilian infrastructure and knocked out power for many people in many different parts of the country. To help defend against assaults like this one, assaults from the air, President Biden will announce military assistance today that includes significant air defense capabilities to help Ukraine protect its people. These capabilities will help Ukraine harden its defenses ahead of what is likely to be a tough winter, filled with renewed Russian attacks on Ukrainian critical infrastructure to try to deprive innocent people of necessities like heat and electricity. Because President Putin cannot achieve his objectives on the battlefield, he is reduced to and is resorting to attacks that are intended to plunge ordinary people's lives into cold and darkness. And we are going to do everything working with the Ukrainians to make that task more and more difficult for Russia to be able to pull off. The package the president will announce today will also include weapons and equipment to help Ukraine maintain its momentum in the counteroffensive. That includes additional ammunition for U.S.-provided HIMARS systems, anti-armor capabilities, artillery ammunition, and more DPICMs, which have helped Ukraine make gains and, crucially, also helped Ukraine defend against counterattacks. President Biden and President Zelensky will also discuss our joint efforts to support Ukraine's economic recovery, and he will introduce a special representative for Ukraine's economic recovery, Penny Pritzker, who will focus on engaging the private sector, partner countries, and Ukrainian counterparts to generate international investment in Ukraine and work with Ukraine to make the reforms necessary to improve Ukraine's business climate. President Biden, of course, is also looking forward to hear directly from President Zelensky in person his perspective on the war and the road ahead, and all of the more specific operational issues that have been a feature of all of their conversations over the course of the past year and a half. Above all, though, President Biden wants to use today to reaffirm his commitment, this administration's commitment, this country's commitment to continuing to lead the world in support of Ukraine for as long as it takes, and that's what he intends to do today.
He doesn't speak on our behalf.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I take you to in Canada and India relationship?
Actually, I was calling on her, but go ahead.
Thank you so much.
You can go ahead.
Thank you. Can you give us your sense of what's happening between Canada and India? India is fuming at a Canadian allegation that India was involved in the death of a Canadian citizen, a terrorist in India. Canada is saying that they have informed you about the proof they have about those allegations. What's the sense?
The woman in the back looks like she's gonna cry.
We heard from the Canadian Prime Minister publicly about the allegations. We went out publicly ourselves and expressed our deep concern about them, our support for a law enforcement process to get to the bottom of exactly what happened and to ensure that the perpetrators are held accountable. I'm not going to get into the substance of private diplomatic conversations, but we are in constant contact with our Canadian counterparts.
Cocaine substance.
We support the efforts that they are undertaking in this investigation, and we have also been in touch with the Indian government.
Thanks for all the hearts over on YouTube. I appreciate you, hooligans.
I've seen in the press some efforts to try to drive a wedge between the United States and Canada on this issue, and I firmly reject the idea that there is a wedge between the U.S. and Canada. We have deep concerns about the allegations, and we would like to see this investigation carried forward and the perpetrators held to account. That is what the United States has stood for from the moment this emerged in public, and we will continue to stand for that until this fully plays its way out. So you can go ahead. Sorry.
Hi. So I know that ATACMS have been on the table, been in consideration by President Biden. I'm wondering if you could talk about what those consideration factors are. Is it a stocks money issue? Is it a we're not ready at that? They're not ready at this point in the war to start longer range fires? Can you tell us about that?
So I can only tell you so much from this podium because operational considerations about any given weapon system, some of that is quite sensitive. What I would say is that the president is constantly speaking both to his own military and to his counterparts in Europe and to the Ukrainians themselves about what is needed on the battlefield at any given phase of the war, and then what the United States can provide, while also ensuring that we are able to provide for our own deterrence and defense needs. As he's weighed all that up to date, he has determined that he would not provide ATACMS, but he has also not taken it off the table in the future. I don't have anything to announce about that today. Yes.
Thanks, Jake. House Republican leaders are heavily laying the blame at President Biden's feet today for the fact that the House has not passed that additional package of Ukraine aid. House Speaker McCarthy saying today that President Biden hasn't made the case to the American public. What is victory? What does it take to be able to win? You met with Speaker McCarthy and other Republicans recently. What was your message to them? And then what is your response to Speaker McCarthy today?
I'm not going to get into a debate with Speaker McCarthy from the podium. I would say that Speaker McCarthy has himself been an advocate for the supply of military assistance to Ukraine, has voted for previous packages, and that Republicans in both the House and Senate, in very large numbers, have been strong advocates and supporters for this, haven't just wanted to hear the case from us. They've been going out and themselves making the case to their constituents and to the world for why this is so important. And it is that level of bipartisan support that we've seen to date that has sustained the immense and impressive levels of assistance that we've been able to provide to Ukraine. We believe that that will continue because we believe that there is strong majorities on a bipartisan basis in both the House and Senate to provide this aid. That's what we look forward to seeing. Now, I did have the opportunity to see the Democratic and Republican leadership in the Senate and the House, and the chairs and ranking members of the key national security committees in two separate sessions. I thought they were incredibly constructive sessions. They were deeply substantive. The members had excellent questions. They also had a lot of constructive suggestions for how we most effectively pursue continued assistance to Ukraine.
Just shut the hell up.
So on the basis of those conversations and further consultation we've had since then, I continue to remain of the view that when all is said and done, after all the back and forth and the toing and froing and all the other elements going into these negotiations that have nothing to do with Ukraine, that there will be strong bipartisan support to continue funding Ukraine to the extent that we believe is necessary to get Ukraine what it needs. Yeah.
Thanks, Jake. Back to India for a minute. Does the U.S. have any intelligence or investigative evidence to support Canada's claims? And then, secondly, Ambassador Garcetti had suggested that President Biden was going to return to India in January to celebrate Republic Day, and I'm wondering if that trip is now in question given this diplomatic row between two U.S. partners.
I'm not going to speak to either intelligence or law enforcement matters from this podium. I will let that process play out. We are in, as I said before, continuous communication and consultation with the Canadian government, and we will remain so.
Thank you so much, Jeff Rowe, for the $5 donation over on Rumble. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Says, have some of my money, bigot. That's awesome. Thank you, Jeff Rowe.
Pass the necessary $24 billion in funds that you say are necessary going forward in Ukraine. By what date does that need to occur to not have any impact? What is the urgency and how soon does that need to happen to make sure that there is no let-up in the effort to help support the Ukrainians?
Well, just to be clear, the supplemental funding package that we put forward to the Hill was for the period from the end of the fiscal year to the end of the calendar year, basically September 30th to the end of the year. So there's not a single dollar amount that is necessary for all time. We need funding to keep going, meaning that if, for example, the Congress passed a shorter package, you could have a proportional amount or a longer package, et cetera.
New package need to be passed.
We will want to see additional funding for Ukraine after the end of the fiscal year, so after September 30th.
We wouldn't want to see that. It's our money.
Congress on October 1st to be able to ensure that there's no disruption in the supply of funding to
and at
Ukraine.
What point would there be a disruption? If we pass what date would there be a disruption, given the fears about this not passing?
Well, I mean, there's a sliding scale of disruption, but the day after the funds lapse or run out at the end of the fiscal year, there would be a break if we do not get the funding starting October 1st. That's why we are making the case to the Congress that we should see additional funding at that time.
Quick follow-up on the Congress. Speaker McCarthy, as has now been reported, turned down President Zelensky's desire to speak for a joint session of Congress. Obviously, they control Congress, you don't. But what do you think that says to the American people if Zelensky was not given that opportunity, given the stakes that you say exist right now?
I've read the reports that I haven't heard it directly, so it's hard for me to comment or speculate on it. What I will say is that President Zelensky just spent hours up on the Hill with Democrats and Republicans, and not just behind closed doors, but out in public to be able to explain his case and to stand, frankly, with members who want to also make the case that this should continue. So I keep saying basically the same thing standing up here that I genuinely believe, which is there is a vocal, quite small minority of members who are raising questions. There is a very strong, overwhelming majority of members, both Democrats and Republicans, who want to see aid continue, and I believe that's where the American people are as well. So I believe that will shine through in the end, yes.
Is the U.S. concerned about Poland's decision to stop sending arms to Ukraine, and whether that signals any sort of broad waning of Western support for Ukraine?
When I read the headlines this morning, I was, of course, concerned and had questions, but I've subsequently seen the Polish government spokesman come out to clarify that, in fact, Poland's provision of equipment, including things like Polish manufactured howitzers, is continuing, and that Poland continues to stand behind Ukraine. So we will stay in consultation with them to ensure that we understand fully what the nature of Poland's stance is on these issues.
What we can start doing for the American people.
Thank you, Jake.
What are you telling congressional leaders about how much more aid is needed to ensure Ukraine can win the war, not just sustain the war? And what timeline are you sharing with them?
Well, we've put forward a proposal. We've actually laid out in some detail every element of assistance that we believe is necessary to get us to the end of this year, and then we have begun talking to them about what next year looks like as well. But that's in military support, economic support, humanitarian, energy assistance, and so forth. War is inherently unpredictable, of course, so I can't...
Jeff Rowe, let Americans sleep on the streets. Duh. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Timetable, and therefore, we need to have a degree of flexibility and adaptability in our approach, as we have since the beginning of this conflict. That will continue, but what we...
Oh, yeah, you're so freaking resourceful. Yes, so clever. So clever when helping other countries. A douchebag.
critical military element.
Appeal to heaven. They should have won with all those doll hairs we sent. Yeah, I mean, you would think. You would think. We sent so much money over there, they could just pay Russia to stop invading at this point.
Secretary Austin had the opportunity.
Like mob bosses, you gotta pay for your own security and stuff, even though they're the ones kicking your storefront in.
Ukrainian Defense Contact Group this week in Germany, and we continue to see a level of urgency and intensity in the support for this kind of assistance to go to Ukraine from dozens of countries around the world. The United States has got to step up and do its part.
And you talk about the bipartisan support, but the issue here is just how does this even get to the floor for a vote? So what is the path forward here?
In a way that's above my pay grade, because that involves questions related to the entire budget, much of which goes well beyond the national security remit. So I will not handicap kind of overall budget.
You look handicapped.
What I'm laser focused on is, when all is said and done, will there be...
Sometimes that truth just slips out like that.
I believe, based on my consultations on the Hill with both Republicans and Democrats, that there will be. Yeah.
Thank you again for being here. You expressed confidence that ultimately there will be money provided as requested, if not more or whatever. And that's the understanding here at the White House. How do you explain then all of this to Zelensky or to other world leaders who might be watching this domestic fight and thinking, should we really believe that the United States is on board with Ukraine and with this effort? I mean, how do you explain congressional dysfunction, I guess?
I mean, one thing you definitely do not need to explain to democratically elected leaders in Europe, frankly, even to autocrats, is politics. Okay, leaders know politics. And President Biden's counterparts understand.
Leaders know politics.
Negotiation.
Did Hyan Harris write that line?
And there's difficult give and take in them, and that's in the nature of a democratic system. So President Zelensky is not coming here like a babe in the woods, not having any understanding that, we have to work through as we approach the end of the fiscal year, funding for the government going forward. He recognizes that that's going to be contested, that there are different perspectives. What he wants to hear from the president is kind of similar to what you are trying to elicit from me, which is, what is the degree of confidence we have that we can deliver in the end? And we believe that we can, which doesn't mean that the road ahead is entirely straight or I can predict to you exactly how this is all going to play out. What I believe is that when all is said,
the road is flamboyant.
Real quick on, we talk about Canada. There's an issue with Mexico today because AMLO suggested he's not coming to APEC in November.
Look at Peter Ducey, laser focused.
Have they given formal notice they're not coming? And what do you make of this dispute between the two?
I actually had not seen him go out publicly and say that, but without going deep into our diplomatic conversations with them, they had raised the possibility that that might happen. We'll have to talk to them, and I don't want to comment on it at the podium before I've had the chance to talk to them directly. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I would like to ask you a question about Saudi Arabia. Yesterday, the Crown Prince said that if Iran gets nuclear weapons, then Saudi Arabia would get them too. How do you react to that? And is it a way to put pressure on the administration at a time when the president is trying to broker a deal with Israel?
No, I don't think so. This has been a long-standing position of Saudi Arabia. And frankly, one of the major reasons that we are working overtime with partners and allies to ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon is that if they did, not only would they be a direct threat to the region and beyond, but it likely would trigger a regional arms race. So it has been core to the American principle and policy with respect to ensuring Iran does not get a nuclear weapon, this risk that potentially other countries in the region would seek nuclear weapons. That's not something that emerged yesterday in an interview. That has been a feature of the landscape going back many years. Now, from our perspective, we will do all that is necessary, and we have said this repeatedly, the president himself has said it, to ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon, so this hypothetical never comes to pass. And that's the stance that we take, and nothing about the comments made yesterday change or alter that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jake. Is it me or something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Just first of all, does the administration support every part of the 10-part peace formulation that President Zelensky is promoting? And if the answer to that is no, which parts might you edit? And then secondly, when President Xi hosts President Putin in Beijing next month, what does the White House hope he will communicate to President Putin about the need for peace in Ukraine?
Each of the individual elements of the peace plan, if you sat one of them down, sovereignty and territorial integrity, food security, ecological security, nuclear safety, to us, it's not even a question whether we agree. Of course we do. These are just basic principles of the international system. They're consistent with the UN Charter, and we have said that President Zelensky's vision for a just peace is fully consistent with the United Nations Charter and with kind of decency and common humanity. So we have no concerns about any of that. What President Biden has said is that at the end of the day, the baseline for peace are the core principles of the UN Charter, particularly sovereignty and territorial integrity and human rights. That's what we're going to continue to drive at. That's what President Biden and President Zelensky will speak about today. Yeah.
Xi, sorry.
Oh, sorry. What was it about Xi?
What do you hope that President Xi will communicate to Putin when they meet in Beijing about the need for peace in Ukraine?
The number one point in, I can't remember if it's 10 or 12 points in the principles that the PRC has laid out with respect to Russia's invasion of Ukraine is respect for sovereignty, respect for every nation's sovereignty. So I would like to see every leader who goes and speaks to President Putin reinforce that basic proposition is inviolable, and that every country, including countries that have better relationships than Russia than we do, are going to stand by that principle as we go forward. That's fundamentally their responsibility. Yeah.
I had two quick follow-ups. First, with regards to the United States' commitment to Ukraine, there are 26 Republican lawmakers, including 6 senators, a small minority, as you mentioned before, who sent a letter to the OMB director saying that they were unaware of just how much the administration has spent thus far in support of Ukraine. They know how much was appropriated, obviously. They don't know how much has been spent thus far. Do you have a general figure you can give us?
I'm not going to stand here and give a precise figure. What I will tell you is that we have supplied to the Congress every dollar that has been obligated. So if they are unaware, it's because they are not looking at the reports that we are submitting to the Hill. In fact, when I was up on the Hill just a few days ago, I walked through in some detail, and I don't have the notes in front of me, exactly what we had spent in the military space. We've done 47 presidential drawdown packages. We give the dollar figure for every one of them. We've done USAI packages. We give the dollar figure for every one of them. We obligate money under economic support funds. That money is notified to the Hill in a public way. So you all have access to exactly how much we've spent. The Congress has access to exactly how much we've spent. We have not hidden a single thing on this, and I find the claim in that letter somewhat bizarre.
And then you reiterated the importance of territorial sovereignty, and you noted that in the 21st century, one neighbor cannot be allowed to conquer another. And I think that you got to the point you seem to say that if we were to allow this to happen in Ukraine, it could happen elsewhere. Were you referring...
There's Simon.
Any other particular threat in any other theater towards one of our allies?
I'm not referring to a particular threat. I'm referring to the fact that history has taught us this lesson painfully many times, that aggression unchecked can be aggression unleashed. That could mean further aggression by Russia, or it could be aggression by another autocratic power against its neighbor somewhere else in the world, not specifically zeroing in on a particular threat or conflict, but we have to be prepared for that if we do not stand up and help defend the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. Yeah.
Thanks, Jake. I appreciate you doing this. So you've laid out how the president is standing up to Russia through action, but largely giving China and India pass on their aggressions as well as economic support for Russia. Why is that?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. You've laid out how the president's been standing up to Russia through action, but when it comes to India and China, the president's largely given them a pass for their aggressions as well as the economic support they're giving to Russia. Why is that?
What do you mean by aggression?
Well, so for instance, India, they've made a deal with, economic aggression, I guess. They made a deal with 18 countries to not use dollars to trade in. India is on a U.S. watch list for intellectual property theft of U.S. companies. India is part of BRICS. And so that's what I'm talking about with India, with China, the aggressions, the hacking that they've done, the spy balloons, as well as their intellectual property issues.
I mean, first of all, we've stood up over, I'm not sure if your question's about Ukraine or just about other things generically and so forth.
Why are we seeing the same kind of actions standing up against China and India?
I mean, we've taken a variety of actions to protect America's national security vis-a-vis threats from the PRC. We have an entire strategy with respect to our technology export controls to make sure that American technology cannot be used against us. President Biden, in fact, is the first person to take some of those steps. No previous administration has done so. And where we have concerns with India, whether it comes to issues related to the very watch list that you're describing or otherwise, we make those concerns clear and we defend U.S. interests, as we do with every country in the world. Now, India is not Russia, and China has its own set of challenges that we deal with in its own context. So, of course, there's going to be differences in how we deal with countries one by one. But the idea, the North Star of this administration is, if you represent a threat to the American people's security, prosperity, or basic sense of fairness, we will take action to defend that. I think our record on that across multiple countries, including the ones you've mentioned, is quite clear over the last 2.5 years. Yeah.
Thank you. You're talking about the $24 billion being through the end of this calendar year. You mentioned that you are looking ahead to what comes next. Do you have any projections for how much more will be needed? And is there, do you have projections and can you share them?
I will tell you, standing here right now, I let the OMB director lay out our budget requests to the Congress, our supplemental requests to the Congress. I do not do that. We are working through that and, in fact, trying to have an open and transparent conversation with the Congress on it as well. But I'm going to leave it to the people whose remit it is to lay out our resource requests to the Congress to do that. I won't do that for them. Yep.
Just back on India quickly. Do you know whether President Biden intends to speak to Modi about these allegations from the Canadians? And do you see that this incident and that this concern could drive a wedge between the United States and India at this very moment when you're trying to sort of rebuild that relationship?
I'm not going to get into private diplomatic conversations that have either already happened or are going to happen on this topic, only to say that we have been and will be in contact with the Indians at high levels.
They're so determined to fix everyone's problems except for our own.
It's something we take seriously, is something we will keep working on, and we will do that regardless of the country. There's not some special exemption you get for actions like this. Regardless of the country, we will stand up and defend our basic principles, and we will also consult closely with allies like Canada as they pursue their law enforcement and diplomatic process.
On Ukraine, sorry, just on Ukraine, you've talked about the sort of need for, on the kind of discussions about what weapons will go and when they will go. There are some members of Congress, some senators, who say that there's some sort of equivalency, like, you're not sending you shouldn't send ATACMS, for instance, or weapons to Ukraine because you should preserve them to send them to Taiwan. Can you unpack that for us in terms of what the store of weapons,
that's what old man Walter said,
all the weapons that can be produced, and whether there are sufficient weapons to respond to eventual needs in other places besides Ukraine?
So when we think about our obligations under the Taiwan Relations Act to continue to provide defensive articles to Taiwan, we take a look at what we have in our inventory and what they put on contract to purchase. Most of what they acquire, of course, is through foreign military sales, which they put on contract to purchase and don't take out of our stock. So we look at that. We obviously look at both what we provide through drawdown to Ukraine and also what we put on contract for purchase to Ukraine through the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. And then we look at what we need for any contingency anywhere in the world, and not just in the Indo-Pacific, but in Europe, in the Middle East, elsewhere. And we lay those three considerations out on the table, and we make a determination about whether there are, in fact, trade-offs that would make our life difficult in some way, or whether we feel we can manage and balance everything while doing the needful for all of the major contingencies we might face. We do not think right now that the notion of one-for-one trade-offs in any context is really a rate limiter on us being able to provide support for Ukraine. We think we can provide support for Ukraine, and also be in a position to deter aggression elsewhere or respond to it if it takes place. So we have confidence in that.
Does the U.S. industry need to increase production?
Yes. Our view, just for example, I've stood at this podium before and talked about artillery ammunition. We want to see a dramatic increase in artillery ammunition production. That is underway. It will take some time. We think there are other munitions where additional production, additional capability, and not just for munitions, but critical platforms as well. We inherited a defense industrial base that from a supply chain and workforce and overall capacity perspective was not operating at the level we believe it should be operating at. President Biden has given direction, Secretary Austin has given direction to remedy that, and we are actively doing so. Yeah.
Thank you, Jake. CNN asked Zelensky earlier this week if a military breakthrough is possible this year, and his answer was, I think nobody knows really. What is the U.S.'s assessment of whether the provision of all of this aid can actually ensure success on the battlefield?
Well, let's define success kind of stepping back for a moment. Number one, Kyiv stands, Kharkiv stands, Kherson stands. Major cities of Ukraine are not under Russian domination and occupation today because, first and foremost, of the bravery of the Ukrainian soldiers on the front lines and the people, the Ukrainian people who are supporting them, but also in no small part because of the material assistance we have provided. And that is a significant fact. Second, Ukraine is in fact taking back territory. It is doing so methodically, step by step, and the weapons that we have provided have allowed them to deoccupy more territory in the last 3 months than the Russians were able to take in 8 months over the course of its fall and winter offensive last year. So we will keep at this, and we believe that the weapons we are providing are helping Ukraine not only make forward progress, but also critically defend the territory that they continue to hold against Russian efforts to overrun it and occupy it, because Putin has not given up on his fundamental goal, which is to subjugate the country of Ukraine. And we will not permit that to happen, and the Ukrainian people will not permit that to happen. I'll do one more. Yeah.
When President Zelensky was here last December, he and President Biden had a joint press conference after their meetings. That's not on the agenda for today. Why was that not scheduled for this visit?
So President Zelensky came in from New York. He's going off to other destinations tonight. He has a limited number of hours here. We wanted to make sure that he spent plenty of time on the Hill engaging with Democratic and Republican members, answering their questions, making his case. And then President Biden wants plenty of time to sit with him one-on-one in a small group and then with his cabinet to be able to work through everything. They will have the opportunity to make, I think, 2 statements to the press during that time. But we chose how to allocate the time based on what we think is going to generate the best possible results for Ukraine. And President Biden is looking forward to the set of engagements this afternoon. I'll just say one more thing back to the question of how much assistance that we've provided, lest anyone say, oh, Jake doesn't know how much assistance we've provided. This is just off the top of my head, so you can confirm these numbers. But roughly $47 billion in military assistance between PDA and USAI. Roughly $1 to $1.5 billion per month in direct budget support that is sent not directly to Ukraine, but to the World Bank, so that the World Bank can ensure every amount, all of the amounts of that aid, those dollars, are being appropriately spent. And then in the range of $10 or so billion being spent for a range of humanitarian, energy, and other purposes to ensure that the basic livelihoods of Ukrainians, their humanitarian needs, basic food security needs, and otherwise are being taken care of. That's not a precise estimate because I didn't come bringing this, but I spend my days making sure that we know that every dollar that we're spending is being accounted for effectively and is being shared very much with the Hill and is being shared with you all. And of course, we will make sure that the members that you referred to who don't seem to know what we're doing with the aid to Ukraine get the same information that has long been available to everybody else. And with that, I'll let you guys have a good day. Prostitute.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Jake. Okay. Just one thing at the top, and then we'll continue. Today, extreme House Republicans showed yet again that their chaos is marching us toward a reckless and damaging government shutdown. Extreme House Republicans can't even get an agreement among themselves to keep the government running or to fund the military. They keep demanding more extreme policies as a condition to do their job and keep the government open. From a fact-free impeachment that their own members say isn't supported by the evidence, to severe cuts to food safety, Meals on Wheels, Head Start, education, law enforcement, and much more. And they are failing to deliver needed funding for communities recovering from disasters, to countering fentanyl trafficking, for food assistance for pregnant mothers and babies, and to support Ukraine. All this while pushing for more trickle-down tax cuts for billionaires and big corporations, which they did again yesterday in their budget markup. The solution is very, very simple. Extreme House Republicans need to stop playing political games with people's lives. There's so much at stake here. They should abide by the bipartisan deal we made in May, which two-thirds of House Republicans voted for. A deal is a deal. House Republicans need to do their job, keep the government open, and work with us to deliver for the American people. With that, Sung Min.
Thanks. Two quick topics. Has OMB given guidance yet to federal agencies on what they can and can't do in case of a government shutdown?
So don't have any specific what that would look like, but certainly agencies are looking at how to move forward in case there is a shutdown. But I will say this, I mean, very plainly, the best plan right now is to not have one, is to not have a shutdown. House Republicans know exactly.
I thought she was saying the best plan is to not have a plan. That's exactly what you would expect out of blue team out there.
Yeah, again, I told you that, as I mentioned, agencies are looking at how to move forward in case there is one, but we want to be very clear. We want to be very clear here. The best plan is for there to not be a shutdown. This is something that can be avoided here. This is something that House Republicans know very well, that they have to do their jobs. They're the ones to fix this problem.
And will the White House send an administration official to the picket lines with the striking UAW workers, or would President Biden himself go?
So don't have anything to lay out on any as regards to the president's schedule. What I can say is the president is very, I guess, seeing them continue to be at the negotiating table. All parties continuing to be at the negotiating table is a positive. That is important. They've been certainly doing that for the past 24/7. It is important to have that collective bargaining. The president has been very clear about that, and so we are going to assist the White House along with the Department of Labor with the leadership of Acting Secretary Sue to make sure that we provide assistance or any guidance as it is requested to all parties. But certainly we appreciate the fact that they are still at the negotiating table having this conversation. It is important that we result in a win-win agreement. It is important that UAW workers are certainly being able to have a deal where they could take care of their family, raise their family. The president is, as you know, pro-union. The president is pro-workers, pro-UAW workers, and that's what we're going to continue to make clear.
I'm going to just ask you on the UAW strike, to what extent do you have any kind of leverage to sort of lean in with companies? Is the president picking up the phone and speaking with the company executives? And is there a limit to how much he can do on that?
Well, you heard from the president, Andrea. You heard from the president last Friday, where he said that record corporate profits should lead to record UAW contracts. He was very clear about that. You've heard that from me, and you've heard that from others here in the administration. And he's going to obviously continue to get daily briefings from his team on what's going on, and where the negotiations are. And the president has spoken to all parties in the past couple of weeks, and so he has stayed in touch. He's had those conversations. But again, the parties are negotiating at the table. That is a positive thing. That is important. They are working 24/7 to get a win-win agreement. And so, look, I'll just add this. The president fought and won the type of major investment needed, really truly needed, to ensure that we have an EV future with EVs that are made in America. That is something that the president was able to do. And let's not forget, the folks who want to repeal this, or what we saw in the last administration, was certainly not about investments. If anything, they tried to push sending American jobs to China. That's what we've seen them do. The president is a pro-union president. That's what labor and union have called him, and called.
Hey, thank you so much, John, for the $10 donation through Cash App. I appreciate the support. Thank you.
The administration, and so we're going to continue to be helpful in any way possible as these negotiations continue.
I'm gonna grab some more coffee. I'll be right back.
The kind of negotiations on that to stop the shutdown, or prevent a shutdown.
You're talking about the government shutdown.
Yeah.
So look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask you. You know, I know you've got people working on this, but how severe, how significant do you think the impact would be if there is a shutdown? In the past, these things have been resolved in a few days. So, do you expect that it would have a significant impact, or do you think it would be something that could be rolled over?
No, I appreciate this question, because what House Republicans are doing would hurt American families, and we've been very clear. Here are a couple of things that we think that may hurt American families. It hurt military families, force active duty military personnel, law enforcement officers to work without pay, endanger disaster response, as I said at the top, which will risk FEMA's disaster relief fund and complicate new emergency responses. As we know, FEMA has been very busy these past couple of months, dealing with extreme weather, dealing with responses.
Every other week.
Research that it will delay new clinical trials. That's what we'll see. If you think about eliminated Head Start slots for 10,000 kids, risk significant delays for travelers that we'll see across the country, with air traffic controllers and TSA officers would have to work without pay, undermine public health. Most EPA hazardous waste and drinking water inspections would stop. Hurt small businesses. We're talking about SBA would not be able to approve new loans, and undermine food safety. So this is what we think the impacts of a shutdown might be. And look, again, this is something that they can fix. This is something that House Republicans, these extreme House Republicans, they can fix this. All they have to do is do their jobs. And let's not forget, we had a deal. We had a bipartisan deal that the president led on back in May. A deal is a deal. Gotcha.
Thanks, Green. Speaker McCarthy said today he would be, quote, more than willing to look at the $24 billion request for Ukraine aid if the president first looks at their Republican border bill that they put forward. What's your response to that?
There is no conversation to be had, because a deal was made already back in May, as I just stated to Andrea. There was a deal that the Speaker and the President came together on to move forward on behalf of the American people, that Republicans voted on, that Democrats voted on. A deal is a deal. There is no discussion to be had. There's no discussion to be had. And I just am not going to negotiate from here, obviously, but we made a deal in May. We did. Something that American people want to see. They want to see both sides coming together, actually delivering on matters that are important to them. So this could be fixed by them, not by us. We made a deal already, and that was back in May.
Anything you can tell us about tomorrow's schedule?
I don't have anything to share at this moment.
Call on Peter.
We'll have that out for all of you later today. Okay, Peter.
Karine, the administration said yesterday it was granting temporary legal status to hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans. At the same time, the city of Eagle Pass in the Rio Grande has announced a state of emergency because of immigrant surge. Is there any concern that the timing of this Venezuelan TPS announcement might exacerbate what's happening in Eagle Pass right now? Essentially, is this going to make the situation in Eagle Pass worse?
So look, We have worked very hard, the president have worked very hard to implement a strategy when it comes to the border that is humane, safe, and has orderly enforcement. That is something that we have tried to do and worked really hard to do these last 2 years. I do want to add a couple of things that we also announced yesterday, as you, just to note, I'm sure you know, which is escalating the fight against smuggling and trafficking by prosecuting an increasing number of smugglers as well as non-citizens who are violating our laws, right? This is an announcement we made yesterday. Also in deploying 800 new active duty military personnel to support border efforts and get CBP agents and officer out in the field. This is this is on top of the 2,500 National Guard personnel also deployed, and expanding the fentanyl expedited removal management. So those are 3 other pieces that we announced, as well as.
She said all the non-citizens that are breaking the law. Any person inside the country that's a non-citizen and doesn't have a visa or anything to be here is breaking the law by being here. Like, what the hell are you talking about, KJP?
Their continuing resolution would lead 800 CBP agents and officers being fired and will result in 50,000 pounds of cocaine, more than 300 pounds of fentanyl, more than 700 pounds of heroin, and more than 6,000 pounds of
They had heroin, did they?
drugs to enter the country. That is what they proposed just a day ago. And that's what that would do to the border. It would hurt and harm and not deal with the issue. So they are doing the opposite of what the president is trying to do, is actually move forward in a way that is humane, safe, and has an orderly enforcement pathway process here. Okay.
Thanks, Green. So what do you call it here at the White House when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So what do you call it, Peter, when GOP puts forth a wait, no, you can't. I'm answering. Okay, we're gonna move
You're
on.
answering
No,
a question
no,
with a
no, no,
question?
no,
Okay.
no, we're moving on.
Green,
Moving. In
please.
the back.
Oh, she don't like that.
I tried to
migrants.
answer, Peter. I
Okay.
tried to answer the question. You stopped me. Let's go.
Fuck you.
Yesterday, Border Patrol cutting some of the razor wire that Texas had installed. Governor Abbott, they have his border czar has pictures of people taking fresh razor wire out to the border to reinstall it. Is there now a federal policy of removing the barriers that Texas is installing?
So here's
why?
here's what I'll say. I would have to look into that. I did see those reports yesterday, but as it relates to Governor Abbott, we know what he has done these past couple of years while this president has been in office. He's turned this, when it comes to the border, he's turned this into a political stunt, and that's what he's done over and over again. That's what I can speak to. I did see those reports. I would have to go back and get a sense from the team and give you an answer on that.
There is an enormous amount of concern. The mayor of Eagle Pass tells us at least 5,000 people.
Look at Simon. He's looking at Peter right now. He's like, I feel you, Peter. It's messed up.
Resources specific to this surge are being
Well, I just laid out 3 additional announcements that we did to deal with the border that we announced yesterday. We announced the TPS Venezuela announcement as well yesterday, and so this is a president again that has taken action without the help of Republicans in Congress. He has taken action over and over again to deal with this issue. Let's not forget, and you know this very well, having as you're covering that region, that this is an issue that's been around for decades. This is a broken immigration system. This is why the president on his first day put forth a comprehensive piece of legislation to try to deal with this immigration system. We've put CBP, 25,000 CBP agents out there. We tried to make sure that we deal with the smuggling that's happening. We've tried to make sure.
You might as well just run away. Everybody's ears are turned off right now. You douchebag, treating Peter that way.
To do. Again, we just announced 3 more additional enforcement pathways or ways to move forward on this, and so the president's going to continue to do what he can from this administration.
Thanks, Green. I want to say, actually, with the border, how many people coming into this country illegally is enough for President Biden then?
Say that last part.
How many people illegally coming into the United States is enough for President Biden's administration?
Enough for what?
5.9 million people have been encountered illegally.
I know the numbers, but enough for what?
Enough just to stop the flow.
As I mentioned, this is a problem that's been around for some time now, for decades, a broken system.
It's not a broken system. Enforce the damn law.
To do what he can, without the help
Fucking traitor.
in Congress, to deal with this issue. And I just laid out what he has done over the past 2 years, right? 24,000 CBP agents and officers along the southwest border. This is a historic number, more than any other president has been able to do.
DCAT, you're right. Ghostly, see, that's why she's single. I'm saying.
Those are going to be helpful in dealing with
She don't like hearing anybody's voice but her own.
capacity by 3,750 to 22,700. And so we're trying to deal with the smuggling issues that we're seeing as well on the border. So the president's going to continue to do the work. He made some announcement as well yesterday, as I just mentioned. And so look, we're going to continue to implement a strategy that is humane, that is safe, and that is orderly as it relates to enforcement. And so that is a promise that you can see from this president. Again, GOP, the Republicans, put out a continuing resolution that actually reverses the work that the president is trying to do, makes the situation worse. That's what they were trying to push. And so, look, we would love to do it in a bipartisan way and really fix this issue that's been around for some time now. But right now, the president is doing it on his own.
Thanks, Karina. Will we see the president try and get directly involved in trying to avert this possible government shutdown? And will he be speaking with Speaker McCarthy? And if so, what's his message?
So look, the president talks often to members of Congress. That is something that he does pretty regularly.
That doesn't even mean anything. The president talked to Congress often. You could say that at any point since America's been America. You're not saying anything, KJP. I'm so done with this. I hope she just runs away. I'm all over it. Just come on, get off stage, scoot your douche right out of here.
In a bipartisan way. It is up to them to fix this. The message is very clear. What he says in private is certainly what he says in private is the same as what he says publicly, which is there is no reason for Republicans to shut down the government. House Republicans should stop their partisan games and keep their promises and also do their jobs. That's the message that the president is sending.
Given everything you've laid out, why is there so much confidence from Jake Sullivan and other members of the Biden administration that this additional funding to Ukraine will get approved?
She dressed up like a candy corn. I've been sitting here trying to figure it out. She thinks she's a candy corn.
The strong bipartisan support that we have seen over the past several months for Ukraine, and it's not just us. It came from our allies and our partners.
Sam, she means POTUS mumbled something, just barked in their direction.
To fight and be successful in the battlefield. And so it is important. We think it's incredibly important that we continue to give them the support that they need. You heard from the president in the halls of the UN at
No, I didn't, because I didn't watch that nonsense.
Speaking about the stakes, the importance of making sure that we continue to help the Ukrainians as they fight for their democracy. That hasn't changed. The stakes are still very high. It's important to continue that support. We've made that.
Thank you so much, Dan, for the $10 donation over on Rumble. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much.
To make that very clear. And so, look, there was strong bipartisan support. Jake actually laid out some of his conversation and the feedback that he was getting when he was on the Hill. And so,
DCAT, we should censor this woman. No, I don't want to censor anybody, but I would like to throw the shoe.
Welcome to the briefing room.
Good to be here, Corinne. Thanks so much.
Welcome to the briefing room where we shut down members of the press.
Seeing a new influx.
Glad to have you.
I understand your comments about being a broken immigration system, but the administration also took credit following the end of Title 42 for the drop in border crossing numbers. Is it now taking responsibility for the rise in numbers?
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gabe. I'm so sorry. Finish your.
Yeah, and then secondly, you mentioned those 800 new troops that are going down to the border. Do you think that'll be enough?
Look, it's on top of what we have done already in the past 2 years under this administration. Look, every year, as you know, Gabe, I know you follow this very closely, U.S. sees ebbs and flows of migrants arriving fueled by seasonal trends, as you know, and efforts of smugglers to encourage migration. That is something that we see over and over again. And so certainly that plays into this. And so, and I understand your question, but here's the thing. As you know, the president has taken action upon action to try and deal what is happening at the border. Historic action. Without the help of Congress. And so we have asked over and over again to do this in a bipartisan way, which is why the president, his first piece of legislation was to deal with the immigration system. And understanding how critical it was to do that. And so we have taken actions.
Invasion and immigration is not the same thing.
Ebbs and flows. That's what we see at the border for different trends, for different reasons. And so we think three important enforcement announcement yesterday. It's on top of what we've been able to do, and and then you see it for yourself what Congress has tried to do. Put forth a piece of legislation, a CR, a resolution that does the opposite of what we're trying to do. When we're trying to fight fentanyl, right? When we're trying to deal with smugglers, when we're trying to put more.
They're in the back room doing fentanyl, talking about they're fighting it.
They're trying to
fighting that high. Thank you so much, Jeffro, for the $5 donation over on Rumble. And I appreciate you, Jeffro. Thank you. If only we could get some actual information from the Chia Pet. We're not getting anything good out of her. Just some flare-ups. A little flare-up here and there.
There's a lot of focus in here about what's happening at the border and what the White House can do with Congress to solve that problem. The one thing the White House can do on its own is foreign policy. Who's talking to Venezuela about why these people are still coming? Who's talking to Panama about the Darien Gap and who's allowing them to come in? And whatever happened to those State Department and Spain and Canada centers that were going to be set up along the route?
So on the
to
last,
make sure that people would have options.
All very good questions. Clearly, the centers, we would get more information for you on that. But look, these diplomatic conversations are incredibly important. You heard from the National Security Advisor. These are conversations that Blinken is having, the Secretary of State is having. The President, let's not forget, just last fall brought 22 countries together to talk about how migration is affecting the region. And remember, they signed a declaration. Look, these diplomatic conversations will continue. It is not an easy issue to deal with, right? But they're going to continue. The point that I'm making, and the point that I think you all some of you have reported on, this is a president that has taken historic action.
He hasn't done anything. Ruin our lives. That's all he's done. Crap his pants. More than any other president ever.
We'd like to do it with the help of Republicans, but right now we are doing it in the best way that we can, taking diplomatic actions as you just laid out, right? Having those conversations, seeing how we can work with this issue, because it's a regional issue. This is a West Hemisphere issue, right? And so we're going to continue to do that, and also make announcements like we did yesterday to deal with what's going on at the border. Okay, all right. Take one more question for.
What's the point? Why even take a question?
Is expected to announce a new office for gun violence prevention to coordinate the administration's efforts. This obviously has been a proposal that's been on the table for years from advocates, and this White House has always maintained that this falls under the Domestic Policy Council. I'm wondering if you could just tell us why the White House has agreed to accept this proposal now, since advocates have been pushing for it since the transition.
So I'm going to be very careful here, and certainly, as you know, we are going to give the president and the vice president are going to give remarks on gun safety tomorrow. So I'm going to let them speak to this. So don't have anything to share on this at this time. So I would tell you to stay tuned. But look, in a much broader sense here, the president has said gun violence is an epidemic. There are many.
Thank you so much, Sam, for the $10 donation over on Rumble. I appreciate you, Sam. Thank you. Sam says candy corn sucks. Just saying. I know that one does on the screen here. Can't handle it. It's too much. It's too much.
That is something that we should really be mindful to and do something about that. That's why the president has taken the actions that he has, historical executive actions, to deal with this issue.
I wish I could crap my pants in front of everyone and have somebody like this douchebag come out and explain to everyone all the great things I've done. Just, come on, man.
To deal with this epidemic, I'm certainly not going to get ahead of the president. You all will hear from the president and the vice president tomorrow on their gun safety announcement, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
Prostitute. What, is this a communist country or something? I thought this was America.
Thought this was America. KJP shutting down Peter right in front of everybody. I hope the trolls eat her alive over on Twitter. I know that's what Peter is doing. He was all huffy and puffy when she shut him down, and then every time you seen him on the screen after that, he's over there like tweeting it up. He's like, this douchebag right here wouldn't even answer my question this time. I don't even know why she called on him. We'll see how she treats Jackie next time, see if she does the same thing, because she already doesn't call on Simon at all anymore, and I don't think he ever did anything that bad. I think he doesn't pre-screen his question, or his questions, because she used to call on him but then never would give him an answer. Never. And now she won't even call on him. The only way you get to hear Simon's voice is when he's blurting stuff out across the room at her. I believe it was the very last time that we did a press briefing, he yelled out, "Is your breakup affecting your job?" or something like that as she was storming out. Peter keeps asking those honest questions. She won't call on him anymore either. My goodness, we gotta clear the palate here. Holy. Thank you so much, Red Zop, for the $10 donation over on Rumble. Now I appreciate the support. Thank you. Red Zop said, she sucks. She does. If she sucked a little better, she'd still have a girlfriend. Anyways, I digress. So we're going to move forward to this video titled Activist Meltdown After a Liberal City Makes Drugs Illegal Again. Oh, Seattle. It's always 20 seconds till doomsday over there. Then we have a video titled Donald Trump gets swarmed as he hands out pizza to at the Iowa pub, which is pretty awesome. I would take a pizza from the Orange Eagle himself. I'd probably cry the whole time I was eating it. We'd record the whole thing. It'd be a historical moment, like KJP says about every little thing that happens in the world. Then we'll be wrapping things up with a video titled, well, it's not a video, it's actually an image that I titled, Trump's not in office, but he's still the president. And I'll show you this image. He's a rock star. Trump is a rock star. That's how we're going to be wrapping things up. So you got to wait. You got to wait till the end of the show. See this image float around on Twitter. Unless you followed me on Twitter, then you've already seen it. But either way, give you a reason to smile. Let's start off with this first video here. Activist meltdown after liberal city makes drugs illegal again. Don't forget to hit that like button. Get us on the front page of Rumble. Or you can hit that like button over on YouTube. Bring more people over to YouTube so then they can realize that they can watch us over on Rumble. That'll work too. That'll do. And before I forget, I want to remind you guys, go get you a free The Orange Eagle t-shirt. T-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, coffee mugs, all that good stuff. Let everybody know you're still voting for Trump regardless of the wrenches they think they're throwing in our plans. If that's not your style, you can get you a Screaming Goat t-shirt. I always want to say Screaming Eagle. Get you a Screaming Goat t-shirt. Let everyone know you love freedom. If that's not your style, you can get Hooligan badge, Jeff Mack, Hooligan logo, all that stuff. Go check it all out. We got great designs. Go check it out. We got more to come. I actually wrote OG back, so we'll have some new designs on the way. I will drop the link for the merch store in the chat while you're watching this first video.
The city of Seattle decriminalized drug use, and then they realized they'd made a mistake. And now they've voted to recriminalize drug use, but the Seattle drug addicts are angry. Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt has the story.
Jesse, in many cities, a bill criminalizing the public use of illicit drugs would not be a matter for much debate. In Seattle, it only got by in a 6-3 vote after months of debate and intense emotions from those who say the action is long overdue.
Vote for this bill and clean up this damn city. Stop all this bullshit and clean it up.
And from those who believe it will make Seattle's drug crisis worse rather than better.
You're welcome. Congratulations, Burgers. Congratulations next time. Right on your hand.
In passing the drug enforcement law, Seattle is simply following Washington state law and allowing the city's attorney's office to prosecute knowing possession and public use of illicit drugs like fentanyl, use that is widespread in Seattle. Council members opposed to the bill say it simply will not work.
The bottom line is that this bill will not address the fentanyl crisis in any meaningful way.
But supporters argued it will help by putting a focus on diversion and treatment.
And if implemented correctly, the entire cohort of people who are not at risk of harm to others, yet otherwise eligible for arrest under state law, will instead by this law be diverted to pre-arrest with no criminal legal system involvement.
Now, the bill will go into effect 30 days after it is signed by the mayor of Seattle. She has said she will do that immediately, and within a week will publish training and guidance for the Seattle Police Department on how to enforce the new law. In other words, how to arrest public drug users. Jesse?
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my...
All been out of shape. Soft and stupid people show up. All been out of shape, and then you see them sitting there doing that. That's what the soft and stupid people do instead of clapping. They think they're at some sort of smooth jazz lounge or something like that where they're watching interpretive dance or whatever, so they just sit there and do this. Oh, in solidarity. Yeah, you're so sophisticated, soft and stupid. The blood's on your hands. You guys are murderers. You won't let these people smoke crack on the sidewalk anymore. You evildoers. Oh my God. I couldn't imagine being on that side of the fence where you're standing up to create more drug addicts. What a terrible person you got to be to have a perception like that, to think that's the right path. Let's give everyone drugs so they can be happy and drugged out. Holy crap. That person shouldn't be allowed to have kids. Shouldn't be allowed to have pets. If your brain works that way, it ain't working. I tell you what. Thank you so much, Undercrafter, for the $10 donation on Rumble. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. Jumping on the $10 bandwagon. I thank you, Undercrafter. You're awesome. Let's run through the chat really quick before we move forward. We don't have a whole lot of news. Most of the news today was about the border. We got quite a bit of the border information from KJP, not from KJP, from the questions asked to KJP. We didn't get nothing but attitude out of KJP. It's another day with lies from the podium. We're gonna move on to this next video here. It's Trump sauce from here on out. This next one's titled "Donald Trump Gets Swarmed as He Hands Out Pizza at Iowa Pub." I bet this was a sight to behold. This sounds like he's at a rally. Everybody's screaming and yelling and showing support. It's awesome. You'll never see this kind of excitement for old man Walter. Never in a million years. Let's get it started.
Come on, let's go. Let's do it. Grab us one at a time. One at a time. Oh, that looks good. You should take a bite. Who needs a pizza? I need a pizza. Yeah, man. Right back there. Yeah, you take it, man. Give that to Marjorie. Who wants it?
Here's what's his name from Right Side Broadcasting helping the president hand out pizza. Handing pizzas over Secret Service.
Who wants it? Here, over there. Here you go, man.
What an experience.
Thank you. Who do you like over there?
I love them all. They're all Trump supporters. We're all here for you. We're all here for you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, darling. You take care of yourself, okay? Are we okay with you? Let me see.
Super awesome. How would you guys like to be handed a pizza from the Orange Eagle himself? I think that's pretty awesome. We got Well, the next one's not a video. It's a picture from the pub. We're going to show it here in a second. I want to read through the chat first. Awesome. Awesome. I totally take a pizza from the president. I think I might take a gander over at eBay after the live and see how many Trump items are on eBay right now. Because last week, I think it was, he was signing and throwing footballs, like actual footballs, into the crowd at the... it was a sorority? I don't know, some university building. It might have been a sorority. It was a college dorm or something like that. He went in there. They were playing beer pong on the outside. He went up to the beer pong table, was signing footballs and throwing them into the crowd. I bet you we could probably spot a few of those on eBay. I wonder what they're going for. Not that I'll purchase one. I just wonder what people are doing with these items that is handing out. And I'm curious, did anybody save a pizza to put it up on eBay for sale, saying this is authentic, delivered by Trump, delivered by the Orange Eagle himself? I think it's awesome. Let's see, Hair Juicer, plug the pub. I want to try them. Yep. Let's see, what he was in Iowa. I've never been to Iowa. If I go out there, though, I have to go see the pub. Stand right where the president was. Let's read through chat really quick before we move on to the end here. Appeal to heaven. I'd take one, but I'm where he never is. Trying to guess. Trying to guess where that is. He's all over the place. Is there a fraternity? Yeah, thank you. A fraternity. And that was pretty awesome. I bet his Secret Service is stressed. I was talking about that yesterday. I bet his Secret Service is just worn out because he likes to be in the crowd, shake hands with everyone, meet everyone, have conversations with everyone. And if something happens to him, it's Secret Service's fault, and they know that. And God only knows what happens as far as punishment to Secret Service for not holding their end of the bargain there as protecting the president. So I know they got to be stressed because he's so personable. Speedy Girl, yeah, that's what we're going to be showing here in a second. Just flipping through the chat really quick. Thank you so much, Red Zop, for the $11 donation over on Rumble. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all the support. Red Zot says, that pic from Trump, though, we're going to show it here in a second. He's in rockstar mode. Zero, I believe they aren't Secret Service, but hand-picked Marines. Well, as long as he's protected, that's what matters to me. Flipping through the chat really quick, and we're going to pull up this picture here so you guys can see what kind of rock star Trump is. He's not grabbing her by the kitty. I mean, that's next best photo right there, but it's almost as good. What's up, wacko? Happy freedom. Master Blaster, Iowa State, Iowa game. Yep, that's what we were covering. I wonder what those footballs are going for that he was signing that day. I'll look it up if I can find it. What are you guys guessing, though? I bet one of those footballs is probably $1,000. I bet they got it listed for $1,000. Well, while you guys are typing out your bets, we'll pull up this last picture here I came across on Twitter right before going live. Orange Eagle. It's not in office, but he's still the president. This woman was like, yo, sign the tits. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to... That's the president right there. Badass. Badass. I want a president that signs titties when he comes to town. Okay, that's the guy I'm voting for. I'll tell you right now. And nothing here to sign. He can sign my tits, okay? And I ain't got tits, but I'll grow some if it means he'll sign them. I'm not transitioning. I know you guys are getting your hopes up. We're not going that far. I'm just trying to get my tits signed by Trump, okay? You mind your business. Saying we like those. I'm saying. Speedy Girl, he signed her arm too so she could get it tattooed. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. I don't know if, I doubt it's the same woman, but that one woman was like, I'll never forget this. Getting a pizza. This woman, she'll never forget Trump signing her tits. It's awesome. Red Zot, I'm heavy set. He can sign mine. See, I'm saying he could sign my forehead. I don't know. That's an experience you will never forget, but that's the guy I'm voting for. I knew that before he was signing titties, but I'm sold now. I'm sold now. You can't convince me otherwise. I'm sold now. This is going to piss off all the soft and stupid people out there. They're like, who is this guy? Who does he think he is? Out here aggressively signing titties and stuff. Trump's the man. If you didn't know. Just saying. Just saying. Great, well, if he signed her arm and titties, I know. Just dream come true. Dream come true. But just reading through the chat really quick before we wrap things up. If you guys didn't make it on time, we did the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the live today. So we've already done it. And we're going to continue to do it unless it becomes some sort of issue, which it hasn't yet. So you got to make sure you're on time from now on. When we go live, you got to show up on time so you can get the pledge in with us. Tam Tam, Donald Trump, rock star. He is a rock star. Pumpkin, I would never watch that boob again. I'm saying. So you can't. You gotta just let the Orange Eagle-ness resonate. They say her titty grew 3 times that day. You guys. Snooks, it's on her shirt. I know. Calm down. Calm down. It's fine, Snooks. If he'd have signed her titty, there'd be a lawsuit in 10 years. That's what would happen. She'd come out of the woodwork 10 years from now. Like all those people back in 2016, you know, just, oh yeah, 35 years ago, he assaulted me and it really happened. He shouldn't be president. He shouldn't be allowed to walk the streets without being publicly shamed. Oh yeah, it would come out 10 years from now. He's got the argument all squared away. You could see his hand. He's kind of like signing like this. That way there was no actual physical connection made. It was marker to t-shirt. Save himself a lawsuit. Still got to sign some titties though. So I mean, hey, I think it's a win-win. I think it's a win-win. That's just my 2 cents on it. That's who I'm voting for. Sold. Sold. I want the guy that signed titties. If he ever goes to a debate, I want someone in the crowd to be like, I'm voting for the guy that signed titties. Everybody else on stage is going to be like, only Trump. Only Trump. He's the man. He's the man. Speedy Girl. He's so classy, though. He didn't let his hand touch her. Yep. Not too sweet. Not too spicy. Just how we like the president. Well, Warcry. Come out with Juggate. Come on, man. You hooligans crack me up. Well, we already did the pledge. And that is all the coffee I had for you hooligans today. I'm trying to think. We got to come up with a new outro now that we're not doing the pledge at the end. But I will still drop this link tree link to all of you hooligans. If you would like to make donations, join membership programs, get you some hooligan merch, you are welcome to do so. You can find all of those links on the link tree. If you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, you have to click the subscribe button. I can't seem to get a solid link for the membership program over on Rumble. If you are on Android and you are using the app, you cannot access the membership program. I think it has to do with how the App Store takes money or does, I don't want to call it money funneling because that's not really what it is, but they take a processing fee, and I think Rumble doesn't like that. So you don't have the access to the donation button or the membership subscription button if you are on Android and you are using the app. If you would like to join the membership program or make a donation, you have to go to the website. So whatever browser is on your phone, Chrome or whatever, go to the Rumble website, come to the live. We're live right now. Scroll to the bottom of the chat. You'll see the subscribe button. That is how you join the membership program over on Rumble. It will tell you that you're joining Locals. Locals is the social media that is owned by Rumble, so you will be added to our Locals group, which is like what it sounds like, I suppose. I don't need to describe it any further. But Not only will you have access to locals, you'll have a badge near your name when you're in the chat on Rumble. You'll have access to all the cool emojis that we have already up there. I will be adding more. I'm working on the chat over on the website. Everybody who watches on the website over on jeffmaclive.com, you guys have all experienced the new chat. From what I'm seeing and hearing, I think everybody likes the new chat. So I'm going to start paying for the upgrades. We'll be able to post links. We'll have categories. I can't remember where they ranking members in the chat. So if you are a world-class hooligan or anything like that, depending on your subscription you pay for, it should reflect so in the chat in the next week or so when I pay for this service and go through and do all the things. Once I'm done with that, we'll start working on more emojis and stuff. So jeffmaclive.com will have custom emojis. Rumble and Kick will also get the new emojis. You guys already have some of the new emojis, but once we start kicking out more, those 3 platforms will all have them. Twitch will not allow me to upload any more emojis. They just won't let me. They don't like what I upload. The last 3 I've tried to upload, they've refused to publish them. Twitch is, I don't know if they're growing their censorship or what, but that's why everyone on Twitch hasn't gotten new emojis. They just won't let me. They're too bitter about stuff. And I think that's it. I'm checking everything here. Trying to remember if I'm forgetting anything. I wrote OG back, so we'll have new shirt designs coming soon. That's also who's been helping me with the emoji upload. So new great things to come. If you haven't gone to the website, go check out the website. At the very top of the link tree, you can click that link to get a free week to check out jeffmaclive.com. There's no strings attached. It's not a trial run. I know there's a lot of people worried about that you're going to get a free week and then you're just going to get miscellaneous charges. That is not going to happen. You'll get a free week and then you'll lose your access unless you subscribe for a membership. But definitely go check it out because it will expire. That link is going to expire soon. I will have to check to see exactly when, but it's going to expire soon. I set it for 1 year. You had 1 year to go check out the website, totally free, no strings attached. Take advantage of it before that link expires, because when it does, there will not be any more free trials for the website. So take advantage now. I think that's everything. I think we covered everything. We will be live later today, 6 p.m. Eastern time for some gaming. If you would like to come hang out with us, go join and subscribe over on Jeff Mac Gaming. You can find it on the bottom of the link tree. If you're a part of Kick or jeffmaclive.com, you can watch the gaming from there. It will start 6 p.m. Eastern time, run till 8 o'clock, just 2 hours to hang out and forget the problems around us, have some fun, feel like a child again, recharge some batteries real quick. If you would like to join us, once again, 6 p.m. Eastern time. For everyone else, we'll be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. I appreciate all of you guys. Big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans, and I would not be able to do this without you. So thank you so much for all your support. I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.